ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. So mantra 16 and 17, Gurudev says they are later on additions, because the flow of thought also, when we see, generally it should conclude with the result, and mantra 15, 14 and 15 gave the result. Yada sarve pramuchyante kama yesya hridishritaha atha martyo amrito bhavati atra brahma samashnute. When all the knots of the heart are destroyed, this person becomes one with Brahman. Similar was said in 15th also. Atha martyo amrito bhavati etadi eva anushasanam. This much is the instruction. So technically, actually speaking, maybe the Upanishad ended with this. This 16 and 17, we saw they are talking about the nadis, and then they are talking about the Angushtamatra Purusha, which was described earlier. So in Gurudev's commentary, he has said these are later on additions. But nevertheless, we have seen that commentary also. And in this, the last line in mantra 17, when a line comes twice, that indicates the end of the Upanishad. And so here the Upanishad ends in 17. In that sense, if we take them as a part of the Upanishads ends in 17. Then what is this 18th mantra? So 18th mantra is Shruti Mata speaking. That what is the power of this knowledge and what happens to somebody who studies this and applies this knowledge. So to glorify this knowledge, Shankaracharya's commentary on this says, Vidya Stutyartho ayam akhyayika artha upasamhara adhuna uchyate. So to glorify this knowledge by presenting what is the result of this knowledge, this is the verse by neither by Yamaraj nor by Nachiketa, but by Mother Shruti or Vedamata herself. Mrityu proktam Nachiketo thalabdva vidyametam yoga vidhim chakritsnam brahma prapto virajo bhut vivrityuhu anyopyevam yo vidadhyatmameva. So Mrityu proktam, Lord Yama, what he spoke, to whom Nachiketo, to Nachiketa, that Nachiketa athal abdva, having gained this knowledge, vidyametam, yoga vidhim cha kritsna, and he got the techniques of application also. See, from here you will find, this is the source. When we say the Gita is the essence of the Upanishads, at the end of every chapter of the Gita, we say Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. This is the technical knowledge, theoretical knowledge, philosophical knowledge, Brahma Vidya. Yoga Shastra meaning the application. Don't confuse Yoga Shastra here with the Ashtanga Yoga and say, oh God, I didn't learn that Ashtanga Yoga, now how will I realize? This is not about that. Yoga Shastra means all the techniques of application, like all these upasanas what were given and meditation on Om that was given. Many things which are given, different types of, different parts also indicated in this. So all those, and then this methods of contemplation, Karma Yoga also indicated in some ways. So Karma Yoga, Upasana, then the Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan, all those things are part of the Yoga Shastra. In the Jnana Marg, because Yoga Shastra here means, Yoga Vidhim here means what? The method to unite. Yuj means to unite. So method to unite with the self, as though. So that is Yoga Vidhim. So Yoga Vidhim cha Kritsna. Having known the methods or the techniques to apply this knowledge. What happened to him? Brahma Prapto. He realized. What is the result of that Brahma Prapti? Virajo Abhut. Became free from all rajas, all impurities. Vimrityuhu. Went beyond death. Acha, only Nachiketa realized, no? So then what about other people? Anyopi evam yo vidadhati atmameva. Even others who followed this, they realized. Meaning it is not one-off incident that, okay, Ramraj and Nachiketa had a conversation, Nachiketa realized, so what can I do about it? How does it benefit me? No, this, so many other people who have followed this, they have also realized. This is like the Shruti Mata giving the testimonial about the efficacy of this knowledge. You know, generally people, if they write a book, some well-known celebrities or authors or somebody, they will give testimonial or they will give their comments on that, or some big media house or whatever, you know, they will write. So before we buy the book, we read who has said what about this book. Shruti Mata is giving testimonial about what Yamaraj gave to Nachiketa, that, you know, that knowledge is effective. And that after Nachiketa got it, many others who have followed it, they have also realized. Which means you and I can also realize. That's the basic meaning of this mantra. Now, the commentary. Mrityu proktam yathoktam etam brahma vidyam yoga vidhim cha kritsnam samasta sa upakaranam sa phalam ityetat. So Mrityu proktam, what Yamaraj spoke, yathoktam, just what all mantras are there till now, all those. And what did he speak? Did he speak about what is your father doing? Why did he send you up here? What is your karma phala? You came early here. You are not supposed to come early here. You go back. Nothing. What? Brahma Vidyam. He spoke about Brahma Vidya. The purest knowledge, the highest knowledge of the self. And Yoga Vidhim cha Kritsnam. All the methods of application. So preparing one's mind and learning to transcend it. Purify, unify, transcend the mind. P-U-T. All the three given. Krishna means holistic. There is nothing more left. So if somebody says, is Kathopanishad enough for me to realize the self? Yes, enough. Shruti Mata is also saying that. So, Swamiji, after Kathopanishad, what? Nothing. It's Krishnam, it's complete, ho gaya. Apply it. No new text. It's done. Full knowledge is given. Oh God, then what will we do? Reflect on it every day. So Krishnam, samasta Samastam sa upakaranam. So this is the word Krishnam is there in this mantra. So that has been elaborated as Samastam, meaning it is all comprehensive. And sa upakaranam, and with all the supports that required. See, Brahma Vidya, it requires supports means what? Upakaranam, meaning with all the allied means or secondary methods which help to purify the mind. So both is there in the Upanishad. Both are there in the Upanishad. Samastam sa upakaranam and safalam ityetat. And it also gives the result that if you study this, what will happen? So it is complete. It is the goal is indicated, the means are indicated, and when you reach there, what will be your experience? That is also indicated. Safalam ityetat. Nachiketa Varapradanat. And how did this happen? Because Nachiketa was given 3 boons by Bhagwan Yama. Mrityoho. Nachiketa Varapradanat Mrityoho Labdhva Prapyetyarthaha. Prapya iti arthaha. And so through that he attained this knowledge. And what happened to him? Brahma Praptaha. Abhut. Mukto Abhavad iti arthaha. He became free. Now, if somebody says, did he get liberation at that time? Or did he go and sit and then reflect and then contemplate and then he got? That we don't know. From what we understand of Nachiketa, he got it instantly. Because he was so clear and focused on that Brahma Vidya and his mind was not wavering anywhere. How much Yamaraj tempted him? Nothing. Yamaraj talked to him about Shreyas and Prayas and all that. Nachiketa brought Yamaraj back saying, you tell me about Dharma and Adharma. What is that which is beyond Dharma and Adharma, beyond cause and effect, beyond this past and future? And what you are experiencing, you tell me that this, all this Shreyas, Prayas, everything is okay, but you tell me this. And also the second boon we had seen that when he got the Agni Vidya, he repeated the whole Agni Vidya as it is. Instant. Meaning what a sharp mind he had, pure mind also he had, both he had. Which the Upanishad said, what was the mantra there? Drishyate tu agraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshma darshibhi. Whoever has agra buddhi, the sharp intellect, and sukshma buddhi, subtle intellect, that person will get it. Nachiketa had both. And he is Uttam Adhikari. So from Uttam Adhikari's standpoint, when we see, then instantly he got Brahma Prapto Abhut Muktaha Abhavat iti artha. If somebody wants to believe that he heard and then he went and he reflected upon it, contemplated, and in time he realized. That's up to them. Because Upanishad doesn't say he went somewhere. Upanishad is saying he realized. When he realized, nobody knows. Katham Vidya Praptya Virajo Vigata Dharma Adharmo Vimrityuhu Vigata Kama Avidyascha San Purva Mityarthaha. So he says Vidya Praptya. By attaining this knowledge, what happened to him? Virajo became free from all impurities, free from even these pairs of opposites, dharma, adharma. So he had asked that, anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharma. Tell me that truth which is beyond dharma and adharma. So if somebody says, no, I don't believe there's nothing called right and wrong, that is wrong. Their belief that there is nothing called right and wrong itself is wrong. As long as Jiva Bhava is there, right and wrong exists. And there is a universal right and wrong. If one wants to go beyond right and wrong, go beyond Jiva Bhava. Go beyond ego. Realize absolute. Absolute is beyond all conditionings. Then the question anyway doesn't arise of right and wrong. But till I am as a jiva, then right and wrong exists because karma also exists, karma phala also exists. So how can I dismiss right and wrong? But one who is seeker of the absolute and one who has attained that absolute, then vigata dharma adharma, gone beyond dharma and adharma, meaning there is nothing left for that person to do anymore. In this context, the word dharma and adharma does not mean only right and wrong. In this context, it actually means duty. Dharma here means duty. So doing one's duty is dharma. Not doing the duty is adharma. Like Arjun wanted to run away from the battlefield. Adharma. And to stay there, fight, protect dharma is his duty. So as long as we are a jiva, we are bound by duties. But the moment jiva bhav goes, what duty? Whose duty? For whom? Duty is meant for the jiva to purify one's mind, to serve others, to let go of the ego. That the main purpose of duty is that. If somebody is at this level, there is no absolute level, there is no duty. In the Gita also Bhagavan says that Yastu Atmarati Revasyat Atmatriptascha Manavaha Atmanyevacha Santushtaha Tasya Karyam Na Vidyate. There is nothing left for that person to do anymore. Who is reveling in the self, Atmarati Revasya, who has contentment in the self and whose deep satisfaction is in the self. So body, mind, intellect level, we want Rati, Tripti, Santushti. This person is reveling in that. So where is the question of any duty left for that person? Tasya karyam na vidyate. There is nothing left for that person to do. That whole question, what next, dissolves. Nothing. Why? Realize Brahman. Oh, but then we see them, running organizations also that they choose to do for Loka Kalyan. They don't have anything to gain out of it. They choose to do it out of infinite compassion. Again, we are seeing them running organizations at the highest level. Which organization? What organization? There is only one Brahman. No creation only. Forget organization inside the creation. That is for ignorant people like us that the scriptures give some explanation. From Mahatma's standpoint, there is no world. It disappears. Because it was a product of ignorance, delusion and knowledge. One got, one woke up. Where is the dream world when one wakes up? There is no dream world. So in that way, this beautiful aspect is this here. Vigata dharma adharma. Gone beyond dharma and adharma by establishing in the absolute. Now, he says, Vimrutyuhu vigata kama avidyascha. Gone beyond death and fear of death. Gone beyond, how did that person go beyond death? And beyond death meaning after this death, there is no more death. After this death meaning, one is the death of ego. After this, there is no more. One realizes I am birthless. So where is the question of death for that person? No death. No, but their body dies. That is for you and me. We see their body. So body to anyway is dead. And we saw earlier that the realized master, tasya pranaha na utkramanti. Their prana will not rise. Other jivas, the prana will rise and it will go according to the karma phala to appropriate realms and then again take birth. So Upanishad said those who don't have this knowledge, those who see duality, they will go from death to death. That was said in the Upanishad earlier. Mrityosa mrityum apnoti ya iha nana eva pashyati. Those who see duality, they will go from death to death. Why they go from death to death? Because as long as ignorance is there, ego is there, This person has karmas to exhaust. To exhaust those karmas, bodies are required. Bodies are required, so one keeps going. And if that person has not woken up to the self or put the efforts to realize the self, then moment by moment that person is identified with the body, that is equal to death. Because this is dead anyways. Body is dead. So from death to death one goes. Here he is gone beyond death. Why? Because they went beyond ignorance, desire, action. Vigata kama avidyascha. Kama avidyascha. San purvam ityarthaha. So first one purifies the mind. See that sun, this purvam ityarthaha, if we take that word in a context, then it will mean that first he purified himself, then contemplated on the knowledge and went beyond death. So the interpretation that Nachiketa heard this and then he went back to his father because he had asked that in the first boon that when I return, my father should remember me and my father should be peaceful, he should not be agitated, all that he had asked. So the sequence as though is indicated here. If you take that San Purvam Ityarthaha, but if we want to say, Nachiketa realized then and there because he's Uttam Adhikari, both ways it is okay. What is important is, are we able to apply this process of purification and realize, become Uttam Adhikari and realize, that is important. Na kevalam Nachiketa. Now somebody says, did only Nachiketa realize? So the Shruti Mata says, no. Na kevalam Nachiketa eva. Anyopi Nachiketo vadat Nachiketo vad atmavid adhyatmameva nirupacharitam pratyak svarupam prapya tattvam eva iti abhiprayah. No, not only Nachiketa, even others like Nachiketa. Anyopi Nachiketo vad. See that Nachiketo vad means who have qualified, prepared themselves, who have that level of Vivek, Vairagya, Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshutvam. All those people, Nachiketo vad, Atmavid Adhyatmameva Nirupacharitam. They also realized Atmavid, they also became one with the self. Which means that the knowledge of this Upanishad has liberated many other seekers also. It is not only in the context of what happened to Nachiketa. What does that mean? It's a universal knowledge. It is not a customized knowledge specific only to Nachiketa. Anybody who cultivates the qualities like Nachiketa will get this. Adhyatmameva Nirupa Charitam Pratyak Swarupam. And they realize the inner self, that they are different from this body and they are that self, Tattvam Eva. Na Anyad Rupam Pratyag Arupam. Na Anyad Rupam Apratyag Rupam. There is no other objectification of the self. They realize the self as their inner true nature, not outside. Pratyak means inner. So such people who are adhikaris, they realize the inner self, which has anyway no boundaries, which cannot be limited by any ideas, concepts. It's concept-free, pure awareness. That awareness, they realize in the center of their heart, what was said earlier, Hridaya Guha, as the pure I, aham, 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 in the cave of the intellect, they realize that. No other way, meaning not through some darshan outside of some Bhagwan or some light or some vision or none of that. How did they realize? They realized this Tattvam Eva, that I am one with that infinite absolute reality. That is their realization. Tattvam Eva. न अन्यद् रूपम् अप्रत्यग् रूपम् तदेव तदेवम् अध्यात्मम् एव मुक्त प्रकारेण वेद. And they realize this inner self tadevam adhyatmam eva mukta prakarena veda. They realize that the inner self is of the nature of freedom. Vijanati iti evam, with whoever knows this inner self in this way as being free, ever free. It was never bound. It is always free. The bondage is created because of ignorance that has gone by knowledge. The self was anyway never affected by that ignorance or the knowledge because that is in the buddhi. And the self reflecting in the buddhi assumes the jiva bhav and thinks I am this. That is the ignorance. That ignorance is being destroyed now by this practice of knowledge and yoga shastra. And that self which is always free has been realized. Vijanati iti evam, with sahapi, and whoever experiences it like this, even that person, virajaha, son, that person also becomes purified, becomes one with the self. Brahma praptya, has become one with that Brahman. So Atman here is Brahman there. There is no difference between this and that. Vimrityuhu bhavati iti vakya sheshaha. So this what was said earlier, that Brahma prapto virajo abhut vimrityuhu, that was applied to Nachiketa. Now he says, the Shruti Mata says, Anyopi evam, even the others, they also became virajo vimrityu. So they don't connect it only to Nachiketa, it is to be connected to others also. So this is the guarantee or assurance of Shruti Mata, saying that if anybody follows this, they will realize that. Now, the Shanti Mantra comes at the end also. So Upanishad has that, like Taittiriya Upanishad also has that in every chapter. In the beginning, there is a Shanti Mantra, but in the first chapter at the end, again the Shanti Mantra comes. Same way here in Kathopanishad, at the end of Kathopanishad, again the Shanti Mantra is there. So now see the connecting commentary. Shishyacharya yoho pramada krita anyayena vidyagrahana pratipadana nimitta dosha prashamana arthe yam shantihi uchyate. In this process of gaining knowledge or the interaction for knowledge between the teacher and the student, there could be pramada from either side. There could be misunderstandings from either side. Vidya, grahana, pratipadana, nimitta. And so there could be disturbances based on that, pramada, misunderstanding. So to quieten it down, because it's a type of tapa, one burns in that. So shanti is to cool down, calm down, quieten down. Obviously, this is meant for the student who is not yet realized, and a teacher who is not like Yamaraj. So if somebody is not like Yamaraj and Nachiketa, then between them, in the process of sharing knowledge, reflecting, there could be doubts, confusions, misunderstandings, some complacency, which can create disturbance. So before the class starts, after the class, even in every class of ours, we do that. Before is Sahana Bhavatu, at the end we say Purnamada. Both are Shanti mantras. Purnamada is not supposed to mean class has ended. Purnamada is a Shanti mantra to say world also does not exist. World itself does not exist. Brahman alone is, and that is Purna Swarup, and you are Purna Swarup. So the purpose of reading Upanishad or doing any satsang is to ultimately realize I am Purnatva. No matter what may be the theme, it may be Ramayana satsang or it may be any other theme. But the objective is to realize I am Purna. So we chant Purnamada Purnamidam. We should not think that Acha Purnamada means that class is closed. And that is secondary implication of that mantra. Not even implication, it's just a meaning that people have derived because we end with that. Ishavasya Upanishad, it is the first mantra. We start with Purnamada. Not first mantra, it is the Shanti mantra of that Upanishad. So now, Sahana Bhavatu is the most famous one. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Saha Viryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So simple meaning all of us know. Saha means together. Now you please see here. Saha, Saha, Saha. So this word Saha, Sa and Ha. Okay. Sa and Ha means together. Saha. Sa with two dots, Visarga next to it. Saha means he. So some places you will find it is Sa with two dots. Saha means may he protect us. In the mantra, first two lines they will put Sa with two dots, Visarga. Sahana Bhavatu means may he protect us. Sahana Bhunaktu, may he nourish us. But when it is here as Saha, Saha, as Sa and Her, that first Saha as he is implied in this. So it is Saha, Sahana Bhavatu. That is the implication. See, because in the commentary you will see that. Saha now, Avam, Avatu, Palayatu, Vidya, Swarupa, Prakashanena. Kaha, Sa eva Parameshwaraha. So that Parameshwara is implied in this. Sa eva Parameshwaraha, Upanishad, Prakashitaha. That Parameshwara who is indicated by the Upanishads, may that Parameshwara protect us both, Saha, Avatu. Because when we write the Sa with two dots, then it only means may he protect me. But when we say Sa and Her together, means together, then together protect us. Who? He. So he is implied in this. Parameshwara is implied. So Sahana Bhavatu, may that Lord protect us. Because you will see in many publications, people become mantra drashtas, they become seers of the mantras. Change the alphabet, change the visarga, change whatever they want, and they'll write the mantra on their own. So many publications you will find Sa with two dots. In the first two lines there will be Saha, Saha, which means he. That word together they remove. In the third line they will put Saha Viryam Karavavahai. That may we put efforts together, because Karavavahai is there. Sanskrit, one who knows, then one understands that that is not correct. Because the word Saha is implied in the first two lines because the verb ending is Avatu. It's a singular ending. The verb ending is meant for one person, singular. Saha, saha, now avatu. That's the full sentence. Then again, saha, saha, now bhunaktu. Nourish us. Then saha viryam karavavahai. This karavavahai is the plural. So saha viryam karavavahai. May we put efforts together. In this now that saha will not come. So why I am saying this is because as students of Vedanta, we should be very particular about what the mantra is. We cannot tamper and we should not tamper with the Veda mantra. Unnecessary, we create confusion. Like people sprinkle, like they do on a salad, or they have some, salt and pepper on the dining table always. So if they feel something is less, they sprinkle salt and pepper. Like that, people sprinkle anything in the mantra. Where there is no aha, they will put aha. Most common example of that is what, wedding invitation. Even any other invitation of any, Griha Pravesh or any such invitation, you will find most common Om Vakratunda Mahakayaha Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Medevaha Sarva Karyeshu Sarvadaha. Arey Baba, why are you adding Visarga everywhere? Just because you add Visarga doesn't make it more Sanskrit. It is Vakratunda Mahakaya because you are addressing, it is Sambodhan. Hey Vakratunda Mahakaya. It is not first vibhakti. If you add Visarga Mahakayaha, it becomes first vibhakti. Here it is not first vibhakti. Here it is Sambodhan. Hey Vakratunda, Hey Mahakaya, Hey Surya Koti Samaprabha. Oh Vakratunda, oh Mahakaya, oh Surya Koti Samaprabha. What you should do? Nirvignam Kurume Deva. Oh Devata, please remove my obstacles. Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. Sarvada is a indeclinable. But people don't understand that. They will just add anywhere Visarga with a dot. Maha is added just like that, like a dressing. So same thing they do. This Saha, Ha is converted into Visarga. A full meaning changes then. From singular, from the purpose itself gets defeated because this is the student and teacher chanting together. And the line says Saha Sahana Vavatu. May he protect both of us together. If it is Sahana Vavatu, unnecessary, then it says I am chanting, so protect me. Mantra meaning should not change. Just give me a minute, I have to put on this. So the meaning of the mantra should not change. That's where we are. Sahana Vavatu. So Saha now. Saha means together. Now, Avam means both. Aham, Avam, Vayam. Aham means I. Avam means we both. Vayam means we all. So Saha now Avam Avatu Palayatu. Protect. How? See, when we chant this mantra in general, we interpret it also saying that may he protect us, physically also, may he protect us financially also. In all ways, may the Lord protect us. But in this context, specifically when Brahma Vidya is concerned, the greatest protection is to know who am I. Vidya Swarupa Prakashanena. Because what is the cause of all sorrow? I must be protected from sorrow. What is the cause of sorrow? Ignorance is the cause of sorrow. How will that ignorance go? By knowledge. So by giving me the knowledge, may the Lord protect me. Meaning both the teacher and student are praying that may the Lord bless us with the knowledge. Vidya Swarupa Prakashanena. Kaha. Who should protect us? Sa eva Parameshwara Upanishad Prakashitah. That Parameshwara who is indicated through the Upanishad, may that Supreme Lord protect both of us by giving us the knowledge, by revealing the knowledge of the self to us. And that knowledge of the self is not some self out there. Swarupa Prakashanena. This is my true self. Who am I? That knowledge. Kimcha Sahanau Bhunaktu. And may we be nourished by what? Tat Phala Prakashanena Nau Palayatu. The result of this knowledge will be reveling in the self, abidance in the self, and being free from the bondage. Through that may he nourish us. Palayatu. Bhunaktu means nourish. Literally it means food. It means nourishment by food. Here it doesn't mean that. Here it means nourishment that if this knowledge is revealed to me, the result of that, what was said earlier, no, just previous mantra, Virajo, Vimrutyu, through that you nourish us. Sahaivavam Vidyakritam Viryam Samarthyam Karavavahai Nishpadayavahai. The third line now he says, Saha now means together, Sahaiva Avam. Now see, that's why he says the dual number. It is not singular, it is dual number now. So now Saha will not come in this. So the mantra by implication is Saha Sahana Vavatu, Saha Sahana Bhunaktu, and then Saha Viryam Karavavahai. So Saha Eva Avam Vidyakritam Viryam Samarthyam Karavavahai. That may we put the efforts to acquire this knowledge, whatever it needs to gain this knowledge. So I must learn to purify the mind, unify the mind, then learn to transcend the mind. It requires a lot of effort. From whom? From both of us. Oh, but teacher may be realized then the teacher has to put effort to share the knowledge and present the knowledge in a way by which the student can understand. It's not just tell the mantra, if somebody understood, great, if they didn't, tata, bye bye. No, give relevant examples, make the student understand, clear their doubts, help them in contemplation, guide them in any obstacles that come. There's a lot of effort for the teacher also. How much effort? 42 years Gurudev did or not? Tremendous effort. In fact, the effort that teacher puts is much more than what the student puts. So he says, Saha eva avam vidyakritam viryam samarthyam karavavahai. And through that effort, we will get the wealth of knowledge. Vidyakritam viryam. The strength of knowledge comes through that. If a teacher is already established in the truth, then nothing more for the teacher to gain. But if the teacher is not established in the truth, then for the teacher also it is getting deeper and deeper abidance in the knowledge by the process of reflection, manan, sharing with people. So like Gurudev used to say, don't think you are teaching this to anybody. It is your higher intellect teaching your lower mind. So you are only doing loud reflection. And this he had known from a sadhu in the Himalayas, in Uttarkashi. Because he wanted to bring this knowledge to the masses, but he had a doubt that how can I teach? I myself am not abiding in that. So he asked one Mahatma. Hey, Mahatma Ji told him that. Who told you that you are teaching them? You can't teach them. God alone is the true Guru. God will teach them. You do your loud reflection. In that some people are benefited. That he told others. Gurudev, he shared that with others and saying that is the attitude you must have. So as sadhaks, we are doing manan. Our own sadhana is happening. Whether we are not there to teach anybody out here, because we are not abiding in the self, how can we teach anybody else? But through loud reflection, we are able to at least share this knowledge with the masses, so that people who are not aware of the existence of this path or of the self or of the methods at least become aware, and Shastra is there with them. Then it's like a map. They have the map, then they can start walking. They will realize they will reach the destination. So Vidyakritam Viryam Samarthyam, this strength of knowledge, the samarthya that it brings, the ability to quieten the mind, turn the mind within, and then to realize the self. May we put efforts together to gain this. Vidyakrita Viryam Samarthyam Karavavahai Nishpadayavahai means may we attain. Kim Kimcha Tejasvinau Tejasvinoho Avayoho Yad Adhitam Tat Swadhitam Astu. Whatever we have studied, he says here, Tejasvinavadhitam Astu is the next line. So whatever we have studied, Tejasvinoho Avayoho Yad Adhitam Tat Swadhitam Astu. May that knowledge be brilliant, shining. It should not be dull. What does that mean? Knowledge must be bright, meaning first and foremost, I should not forget. Second, I should reflect and digest it properly, assimilate it. So that third, when I need, I am able to act out of that knowledge. Not only when I need, at all times I am able to act out of knowledge. Especially at the difficult times, challenging times, this knowledge must come to my rescue. Otherwise, there is no point that knowledge is dull. This is a line because of which we always chant the first shloka again after completing the text. Meaning, not that the book is over, finished, Kathopanishad done. No, again chant the first mantra. Again and again we will keep learning this because the knowledge has to be sharp, and that knowledge will remain sharp only when we continuously reflect on it. Brilliant, shining it should be. Knowledge otherwise becomes dull. And it becomes dull because of what? Our desires. Because these desires will cover the knowledge. Jnanam avritya dehinam. Gita says that. His desires cover this knowledge. So we may know I am Brahman and all that, but some Rasgulla has to come in front, all knowledge gets covered. No more I am Brahman, I am this Jiva and my tongue controls me. Finished. Then knowledge is dull. Nothing wrong in eating a Rasgulla, but if I know that I am having, let us say, sugar problem, then should not touch it. No. But now and then it is okay. So our mind doesn't come under our control, so that knowledge gets covered. Now, Swamiji, we are able to maintain. Very good. That's wonderful. That's what is required. All of us have to strive to keep that knowledge, to live that knowledge. That is the important part. So then the knowledge is bright. Knowledge is bright means it comes into application. How knowledge will come into application? Mind is purified. If mind is not purified in between, mind has all types of selfish desires and, bhogavritti and all that, then knowledge may be anything, but it will be dull. That's not the problem of knowledge, that's the problem of the medium. See, the medium, if it is impure, the purest of water also, if it passes through that, it will still be impure. The subtlest of knowledge passing through a impure mind, there will not be any change. That the issue is not with the knowledge, the issue is with the medium, the mind. That mind must be pure. So that is one meaning. Tejasvinavadhitamastu means my knowledge should be bright. Athava Tejasvi Navavabhyam Yad Adhitam Tad Ativa Tejasvi Viryavad Astu iti arthaha. Second meaning given here is what the great people have studied, the Tejasvis, what they have studied, may that knowledge be studied by us and lived by us. That is the second meaning. Actually, I have swapped the meaning. The first line, Tejasvinau, Tejasvinoho, Avayoho, Yadadhitam, Tadadhitam Astu. That means that the Tejasvi people, in the bright, brilliant seekers, the great rishis, what they have studied, may we study that, meaning this Brahma Vidya, and may we internalize it. That is first meaning. In the Bhashya it is given. In my reflection, I swapped. The general meaning I took first. That general meaning is given second here. Tejasvinavabhyam yadadhitam tadiva tadativa tejasvi viryava dastu ityarthaha. So the second meaning is the knowledge which I have gained should be bright and brilliant. So one meaning, all the Tejasvi Mahapurushas, what they have studied, may we study that, which is this Brahma Vidya, may we live by that. Second meaning, that knowledge must be bright and brilliant. It should not be dull. It should not, there should not be a impure medium in between. Then, Ma Vidvishavahai. Ma Vidvishavahai, Shishyacharyau, Anyonyam, Pramada Krita, Anya Adhyayana, Adhyapana Dosha Nimittam, Dvesham, Ma Karavavahai iti arthaha. So he means here that in this process, Shishya Acharya, between the Shishya and the Acharya, Anyonyam Pramada Krita, Anyaya. You see, this Anyaya word is terrific. Pramad can happen from the side of the teacher. If one has not studied properly, one has not reflected on it properly, one is sometimes giving wrong interpretation, sometimes giving one's own interpretation which may not even be in line. So there's nothing wrong in having an innovative thought, but it should be Shastra Sammat. Anything one interprets sometimes, then that is not correct. That is called Anyaya. Why it is called Anyaya? Because this knowledge has been perfected. This, not knowledge I should say, this science, the subjective science has been perfected by these great rishis over so many generations. One. Two, from a still higher standpoint, this whole knowledge has come to us from Bhagavan himself. Bhagavan is the revealer of the Veda. And the rishis are mantra drashtas. In pure mind, this knowledge has been revealed. An impure mind, which does not have proper qualifications and does any interpretation, any application, rejects it or misinterprets it, then it is Anyaya against the rishis, against the Shastra and against the Lord also. So as a teacher, one should be very careful that especially if one doesn't have the experience, then one should always go back to what is the Shastra saying, what are the wise people saying. That's why we read the commentary. Otherwise, one can take the Upanishad and just say whatever one wants to say. How many people are doing that or not? And what all confusion they have created. There are all types of people in the world. There are people who have as though monopolized this knowledge in such a way that they did not allow others to study it. So people were deprived of knowledge. That is also Anyaya. Because this Shastra is meant for everybody's life to become better. Now they don't do that. They keep the knowledge to themselves. That is also Anyaya. Then there are others who studied this scripture without any proper foundation or any commentaries of higher, greater masters. They just open, study on their own something, misinterpret it, do ninda of the Shastra, condemn it, criticize it, do all kinds of manipulation. That is also Anyaya. Then there are those who study it and mix it. A complete khichdi they will make of it. What the Shastra is meaning and what you are saying is so different. Why? Read that person, read this person, that quotation, this thing, that thing. There's no problem in doing any quotation, but it should be in line. Just for scholarliness, to boast of one's own scholarliness, doing any kind of thing and making it appear difficult, that the listener who is listening thinks, oh God, I am not meant for this. Shastra never does that. Shastra gives the highest knowledge and it gives different levels also. So that each of us can find out, okay, this is not my level, then this is my level, or this is my level, or this is my level. It's not that at the end of it, somebody is boasting so much of their scholarliness and this and that, that somebody thinks, oh God, this is not possible for me, and they run away. That is also anyaya. So what should one do? One should study the Shastra, listen to it from some great masters, reflect on it, internalize it, live it, and share with the people. The objective is that all of us should walk the path and realize the truth, not some, get some money or get some name, fame, and oh, this person is a great scholar and all that. That is all Shastra. Then that is not doing justice to the Shastra. And all rishis, great masters, everybody. And whether people accept it or not, believe it or not, this is a dosha. And there are consequences, repercussions of this which come. Upanishad itself is saying that all the dosha, because in the process of knowledge sharing, there could be dosha from the teacher side, from student side, both. Teacher may not do all this, what I just spoke about. Student may not put the effort. Just come, sit, listen, go back. Even while listening, mind is wandering everywhere. Even while listening, one is going on doubting or judging or, being skeptical to keep finding flaws. There are so many doshas from student side also. So teacher also has to be very careful. Shishyacharyau anyonyam pramada krita anyaya adhyayana adhyapana dosha. While studying and while sharing. Nimittam dvesham, and in this process there could be dvesha which is there between teacher and student. Suddenly the student may feel this teacher very partial. This teacher gives, it is very preferential only to such type of students he teaches or she teaches. Doesn't teach other people. Or this student is a favorite, I am not favorite. It could be an impurity in the mind of student, or it could be teacher's flaw also. Favoritism is bad. The teacher is not supposed to be having any favorites. One may see that somebody is bright and somebody is not so bright. The teacher has to help each one appropriately. It cannot be partial. So that dvesha can arise. Or the teacher can have a dvesha that this disciple is dumb fellow. Useless guy, he can't do anything. I'm wasting my time unnecessarily. I don't know why I have to even teach all these people. Dvesha will be there for the student. So in the mind of the teacher and the student, there could be dvesha. In this process of knowledge sharing, because this is a very subtle process, we should not forget that. The deepest rooted false notions are getting knocked out. I am the body, getting knocked out. World is real, getting knocked out. Happiness is outside, getting knocked out. So many such wrong notions are there. All those are getting knocked out. Then one has to live in self-control as a preparation for all this. Self-control, single-pointedness, selflessness. Now that will clash with my ego. The ego is not used to selflessness. So ego comes up and the teacher may give one, sometimes politely, sometimes harshly, sometimes with complete indifference. There could be so many methods. The teacher may have various ways to help the student. The student may not recognize that by this it is only for my good. The student may get some dvesha in the mind. His teachers being unnecessarily rude to me. Sometimes when one gives a feedback, the student feels terrific. So much resistance is there inside. They won't accept them. Why? Because ego rules. Not easy. So in this whole process, if it is just teacher student coming and like a professor and student relationship which is there, just come teach go, then it's a different matter. But this Brahma Vidya is not like that. The tuning has to happen, then the knowledge transfer happens. In that process, there will be resistance from the student. The teacher has to break through that resistance. There is friction. Unless that dvesha, if there is some dvesha based on this friction, unless that dvesha doesn't go, this knowledge will not sink in. How many people had dvesha against Gurudev? Think about it. Tapan Maharaj is such a strict disciplinarian. So many students would have had dvesha with him also. How many students left and went away? That incident where the laddu, basket of laddu is brought and Tapan Maharaj has put it in the in my room. And this all the students are thinking today he will give, today he will give. 1 week passes, he doesn't give the laddu. So they all start imagining he is not giving laddu to us, he is eating quietly in his room and he is teaching us self-control and tapasya and all that. What a hypocrite he is. And they left. When they left, Tapan Maharaj told Gurudev, go inside and bring that basket of laddus. It is 7 days old. It is now, and it was unopened as it is. He started, it had become spoiled. He said, go and offer it to Gangaji. Gurudev couldn't believe that these students, they left because of this. You see the mind of the student, how it works. So they can have dvesha. How many people left Gurudev and went? See, they went out of their choice is a different matter, but many went because they thought they have dvesha against Gurudev. And they went around with that dvesha also, talking so many bad things about Gurudev. He is not a Brahman. Can you imagine? What Brahman? He is beyond all four varnas, realized the absolute self. And you are still stuck after studying the Shastra saying he is not a Brahman. And he taught you that he go beyond four varnas. Varna is not by birth, it is by temperament. Gurudev is beyond Brahmana also. And he is all the four, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, everything combined. Everything he did for the society. But dvesha, people can't deal with that. It's their impurity. And they fought with Gurudev, left, and then so many things they did. All that is dvesha. In this Vidya Arjan process, this can happen. So he says, oh, the prayer is by both student and teacher. That may this dvesha not be there. Dvesha ma karva vahi ityartha. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti iti trirvachanam sarva dosha upashamanartham ityomiti. 3 times Shanti is for all the doshas to be destroyed or to be negated. The Adhidaivik, Adhibhautik and Adhyatmik dosha should be negated. So that brings us to the conclusion of the Kathopanishad. As per our tradition, we will chant the first mantra again. First valli, first mantra. Om Ushan Havai Vajashravasah Sarva Vedasam Dadau Tasyaha Nachiketa Nama Putra Asa. So may the grace of the Lord and blessings of future Gurudev be with all of us. And may we walk the path indicated by the Upanishads and may we come to realize the absolute self. My sincere gratitude to each and every one of you who have been with me in this journey of my own reflection on the Upanishad. And I have enjoyed this journey. reading the Bhashya of Shankaracharya ji and reflecting on it has been a great sadhana for me also. And we have done it over many months, many years. So my sincere gratitude to each of you for being a part of my sadhana. And we offer this at the lotus feet of Puja Gurudev and the whole Guru Parampara and the Supreme Lord. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणायेति समर्पयामि ओम तत्सत् ब्रह्मार्पणमस्तु. Okay, Neeta ji, you have a question?
Yes, Hari Om Swamiji.
Yes.
Here it says that Ma Vidvishavahe Shishya Acharyava Anyo Anyam. So isn't it like each other, like both each other? Anyo Anyam.
That's what I said.
They both depend on each other, because even in the commentary it's written that हम शिष्य और आचार्य परस्पर विद्वेष ना करे. So isn't it that you said about the anyaya, that so that is confusion for me. So like anyaya means they don't do anyaya to each other, right? Is it like that?
See, you are saying somewhere, you are seeing only one part. What is given here? Acharya Anyonyam. You are seeing that. After that, see, Pramada Krita. After that, what is there?
Anyaya, then anyaya there. Okay, that anyaya. Okay.
So, anyaya is there.
Yeah, okay.
Anyonya means paraspara, which I said is mutual.
Yeah, that is.
Each one can have dvesha for the other, but anyaya is there afterwards. Pramada Krita Anyaya.
Okay, that anyaya we have taken.
See this Sanskrit in this commentary now.
Yeah, that's why I just wanted to make it clear. Okay, thank you.
So what I mean to say is, when this commentary is there, when we want to study the commentary, we have to split the sandhis in the commentary.
Right.
So in this book, if you split all the sandhis and you write the beginning of that the word, like here it is Pramada Krita Anyaya. So A has to be written about A. So then you know it is Anyaya.
Right.
Then again Adhyayana. So like that, if you write, if the splitting is done, then it becomes clear. These are the words.
Yeah. Every time actually I do it, but I think I missed out on writing. While writing, I missed out on this Sandhi. Hari Om. Thank you.
Okay. Hari Om. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha.
Swamiji, I just wanted to say thank you so much for this discourse. It's been really wonderful. I was just seeing I started in September 19, so I think must have just started that time, and it's August, so it's been a whole year.
So Amiji,
just wonderful.
I've been doing it for I think 2 years or more than 2 years now, because Vallis are there in this. Yeah.
Swamiji, I'm extremely grateful to you. This started on 9th of January 2018, and you have held our hand through it all for so many years, and maybe we will now learn to question and try to learn. Pranam from my.
Thank you.
Ask the right questions, actually.
And what will be the next text now?
Mananam.
The class, there is no next text right now. For some time, reflect on Kathopanishad. Because there are too many texts already happening. Mundakopanishad, Bhagavad, Ramayan.
That's right.
Then the absorption capacity becomes less.
Yeah.
So after some time, we will start. Take a small break and then resume again after some time.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hari.
Swamiji, I also just wanted to add that because of this course, I have started reading the Shankar Bhashya, Swamiji. Before that, it was really difficult for us to grasp it.
Now I'm glad if you are doing that. That's the objective. That Shankar
All
Bhashya.
the other Upanishads that you are doing, the Ishavasya and all, I always keep the Shankar Bhashya in my hand now.
That's the guide. Gurudev himself followed Shankar Bhashya, so we should also follow that.
Swamiji, heartfelt gratitude, Swamiji. Thank you.
Everyone.